Congratulations to Alfredo. Very nice presentation. Congratulations to Jason from Daki In. It seems that St. Kitts is doing some very good things with the internet registry. Actually, I'm a little bit upset that I have to do this presentation remotely. I don't know what Daniels never invited me to go to St. Kitts. I love St. Kitts. I happen to be in St. Kitts twice this year. And I think the last time it was last month. But let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in the Dominican Republic. I live in Belize for the last 30 years, so I have stayed all the time in 2 Caribbean countries. And I guess the reason why they asked me to speak to you is not one, I have been involved in internet and ICANN matters since 1995, so that makes me an old man. And 2, we have a unique story from Belize that started perhaps 18 years ago, around the year 2000. But the presentation is supposed to be about DNS, which is related to internet, and it's supposed to be about entrepreneurship. When I listened to Alfredo, and he was explaining to you what he does, basically, if you're going to start a business that is going to be profitable, you need to find a niche market. And that opportunity sometimes is just in the present. That doesn't mean that those opportunities will be in the future, especially if you're talking about the internet. It changes so rapidly. So I'll tell you a little bit about history. In the 90s, there was no internet connectivity in any Caribbean or Latin American country. That's why when Jason was explaining, he spoke to you about the University of Puerto Rico. Actually, that was a project from the Organization of American States to try to bring some kind of connectivity to the Caribbean and Latin American region. So the only country in the region that had some kind of internet connectivity was the University of Puerto Rico. So we all tried to piggyback on that particular infrastructure. Just like most countries, the .biz domain was assigned to the University of Belize. But university, by definition, they are not really into entrepreneurship, at least not 18 years ago. Their vision and mission, it was more to concentrate into academia. So I was a professor of computer science at the University of Belize. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in computer science. That makes me a technical person, a programmer, somebody that knows about programming, database, networking, and so forth. But somewhere around 2000, I was asked to become the general manager of a private company that is going to manage and market the .biz domain. Now, back then, somebody spoke about generic top-level domains. The only domains that you had in the market, pretty much, it is the famous .com, .net, .org, .edu. Those are what we refer to as generic. And then we have the country TLDs, like one from Germany, one from France, one from Chile, one from Mexico, one from Belize, one from St. Lucia, and so forth. But when you're talking about innovation, the environment is not the same for everybody. Your environment is not the same. So I first attended an ICANN meeting in the year 2000. And at that point, we already have formed an organization that is called Latin American and Caribbean TLDs. And my observation was that I was the only Caribbean representation at that particular organization. The countries that were represented was countries like Mexico, Chile, Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay. But those countries, if you take a look at Mexico, Mexico has about 110 million people. If you look at Chile, they probably have about 18 million people. There was another Caribbean country that was represented in that organization, and that was Dominican Republic, where they have 10 million people. In my case, Belize have 350,000 people. So I saw in 2000, or we saw in 2000, that in the ICANN meetings, it was the have and the have not. The people that have the ability to participate the most, it was the Europeans, the North Americans, and the bigger country. And the reason for that is because it takes money. It takes financial resources to participate. I can now have 3 meetings a year, but we used to have 4 meetings a year. And ICANN meetings is a rotation, so it's likely that the next meeting is going to be in a different continent. So imagine myself or yourself going to the dean of the university and trying to explain to him that I need to go to Argentina for 5 days to learn about domain names. I don't think the funding will be provided. So a group of us decided that the Network Information Center need to find a way to become sustainable. I see, I heard Daniels refer to Alfredo. Alfredo have a lot of money. And that is true, I could testify to that. But I don't have that much money. So I needed to find a way as a manager, not as a technical person now, as a businessman, how I'm going to raise resources for that BZ to become sustainable. Right? Well, the first thing, the electricity cost in Belize was very high. The only internet that we had was dial-up. So the decisions that you make sometimes, it depends of your environment. So I attended ICANN, and I knew that I needed to do some partnership with some bigger players in the market. And with the opportunity was that because almost every single country had what is called a registry-only business model. I will explain a little bit about the registrar model in a little while. The only people that were selling domains was the generic. So we decided in 2000 that we're going to open up the registry, meaning that anybody can register a domain under the .bz. That idea, were very few countries that decided to do that. In the year 2000, Belize, .cc, and .tv. At that time, the idea was not really conceptualized by a lot of people. People believe, or they might still believe, that the domain name of a country it should be closed to only citizens of those countries, either citizens or business that are registered in those countries. Our view was, how come our citizens, they register.com, but we cannot sell our asset to some other people? Again, I spoke about population, because if you have a population like Mexico, you could afford to close the registry. But if you have a small population, how are you going to get the number of registrations to become sustainable? But I knew we didn't have the technology and didn't have the know-how to be able to go global. So we did some partnership with a company called VeriSign. If you don't know about VeriSign, VeriSign is the registry for .com. And that gives us the ability then to offer to our clients the same infrastructure that is being used by the .com top-level domain. When we opened the registry, we thought about the legal implications of that. What are we going to do with the intellectual property community? You know, somebody was talking about Nike and McDonald's. What happens if somebody registered those domain names and they come to me as the manager and say, you need to shut down that domain because that domain belongs to me? Well, we simply just follow the same guidelines that was on the .com registration. And those guidelines are simply that I distance myself to be able to determine who owns or who have the right to any domain name. I use an organization called WIPO, which is the World Intellectual Property Organization. So that gives me some leverage not to be able to be the judge and the prosecutor at the same time. So this is the model. If I only sell from Belize, I was not going to be able to capture the global market. So we became the registry, which is the top umbrella that manages the domain name, not only technically, but a level of policies and a level of guidelines. And then we acquire ICANN accredited registrars to be able to be part of our network. So in our model, this is .bz, the registry. GoDaddy is a registrar. GoDaddy will be able to capture a lot more clients because of their global footprint that they have than myself from Belize. But this particular model, it allows everybody to be able to sell .bz. Today's date, we have a network of over 50 different registrars worldwide selling our domain. We became very successful. In 3 years, we were able to sell at one time. Our registration were around 56,000 domain names. Particular point, we were the largest registry in the Caribbean and the Latin American and Central America as well. But things keep changing. You know, ICANN and Daniels had the idea that they needed to extend from 21 GTLDs to over 1,000 GTLDs. So the value that our domain used to have in the past is not now the same because users have a lot more choices now. But that's where innovation comes in. A domain name is just a registration. Right? So locally, I would depend on people that develop websites to advise clients that they should register .bz and not .com. Well, that never happened. So what we did is that we start developing websites from our clients. We start offering email services to the client. We start selling digital certificate to the client. Not to compete with the community, but the community was lacking into .com. My interest has always been to redirect everybody to .bz. So I needed to give my clientele a kind of like end-to-end solution. And that's what we do now. We keep changing ourselves as the market keeps changing. As a matter of fact, if you go to the .bz website, the registrar, we not only sell .bz, we sell anything .com, .net, that we will encourage you to register at .bz, but at the end of the day, it's a business that we are running, and it's not up to us, it's up to the client. It's up to the client what is the best TLD that they would like to use. We provide the service for the community. The company is evolving. Of course, through the years, we have learned a lot about security. We have learned about databases. We have learned about web development. And now to continue being sustainable, we depend on .bz income, but the income is not as I used to be before. So now we are doing more things, even included software development. We are a group of people, 15 people at the office. The company do not receive any kind of funds from government or the university or any other institution. We have to make sure that we pay payroll of those 15 people. Those are the benefits that you bring to the Belizean community. And we have to make sure that every Belizean citizen is able to just walk into our office and get a domain name and get the website, be online. We advise them on how to do digital payments as a service to the community. We still manage the .gov domain name for the government. We still manage the .edu domain name for educational institutions. But we do that free of cost to the government and to any educational institution. Our charges are about like $35 US for a domain name. I like that key-in idea. I might think about raising it to 100 eventually, but whatever I work for your region. In a humble way, I think I'd rather prefer take questions from you, but if you want to engage in the business of domain names, email, web hosting, digital certificate, the opportunity is there. You don't have to be a registrar, but you could also be a reseller of somebody. Okay, guys, I hope that gives you some information. I wasn't able to see you for a while. I hope you have understand what I'm trying to tell you, and I would like to take some questions from you. Okay. Are you there? Hello, 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 hello. I cannot hear.
Can you hear me, Juan?
Now,
Juan,
yes.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So, yeah, what I said was that the audience, even though you couldn't see them, they were very interested in what you actually had to say, and you came across very clearly. Your audio was clear, and the slides were also clear. So, I will I will take one or two questions if anybody stands up and goes to the microphone. I don't see anybody moving as yet. We have one more segment this afternoon. So going once, no movement. Somebody's scratching his beard. Going twice, that wasn't a question. Okay, going three times. So we'll just give you one more round of applause, Juan, for your presentation. Your information is up there, and we will